I feel like I'm losing my mind.
Behind the dazzling stage of K-pop, amidst the dazzling spotlights and the world's jaw-dropping performance figures, lies a story rarely told. This story isn't about instant laurels or corporate strategy. It's the story of a man who chooses to remain true to himself, despite the world's attempts to mold him to its will. And that name is Kim Taehyung. In an entertainment world increasingly dominated by image and statistics, Taehyung stands out as an exception. He doesn't scream to be heard, nor does he sell his pain to gain sympathy. Yet, every step he takes holds a story, about silence that heals, about wounds never revealed, and about strength that grows precisely when the world tries to break it. There was a time when he walked a dark corridor without any guiding lights. No sound of complaint escaped, but the silence echoed. There were no public tears, yet his heart trembled with each verse of a song. The place that should have been his refuge, HYBE, was slowly being cracked by lopsided decisions. Unequal attention and the coldness of the system became a reality he had to endure every day. Yet, despite all of this, Taehyung didn't choose to become bitter. He didn't respond with hatred. Instead, he chose to love the world, even though the world sometimes responded with rejection. That's where his strength grew, slowly but surely, until it transformed into a magnetism that couldn't be faked. Not many know what it's like to smile on stage when your heart is broken. Not everyone understands how difficult it is to hide disappointment under the spotlight. Taehyung understands, and he endures it all with a patience nearly impossible for ordinary people. His response wasn't through words, but through art. Music became a language that set him free. Every note was a part of his soul, every lyric a story he never had the chance to tell. Music gave him the space to be honest, without fear of being misunderstood. He treaded his own path, though not one paved with red carpets. He may not have been the first choice, but he was the most memorable figure in the hearts of many. Because love cannot be controlled by strategy, and sincerity always finds its way. While his agency displayed a cold bias, the public began to see who truly shone for who they were. That name was Taehyung, who didn't just survive, but thrived. Not because of external pressure, but because of a passion that grew from within. He didn't seek sympathy, didn't exploit suffering for popularity, but people could sense what he was hiding. They heard the sadness in his voice, saw the understanding in his smile. And precisely because of that, they loved him even more, not out of pity, but out of admiration. When justice seemed lopsided, Taehyung proved that a sincere heart can still shine. He didn't demand that the world change. He simply kept walking, and ultimately, the world followed his lead. He wasn't a man hungry for the spotlight, but when he stood, all eyes were on him. Not because of stage effects or artificial lighting, but because his presence brought a warmth that no system could ever create. Taehyung taught us that true inspiration comes not from on-screen greatness, but from the courage to love, even when that love is unrequited by those who should appreciate it. Every small step he took resonated with millions. He proved that even in an unfair system, one can still grow and give hope. He wasn't just a K-pop star, he was a living hope. HYBE may have forgotten that humans are more than mere tools of production. But Taehyung never forgot who he was. He still greeted the staff with a smile. He was still the V who sang through tears backstage. He was still the man who made love his compass. That compass led him to a broader, more sincere, and higher place, not because he was elevated, but because he deserved to be there. Because he refused to give up, even when there were more than enough reasons to quit. The world began to realize that Taehyung wasn't part of anyone's strategy. He was a miracle born from the courage to be himself. He didn't need false protection. He just needed space to breathe, and that space he created himself. Now, whenever his name is mentioned, people don't just remember his voice. They remember his struggle. They remember the determination he hid behind a perfect facade. They remember that he still loved the world, even when the world made him cry silently. Meanwhile, he used that love as a bridge connecting him and his fans. A bridge that no system or company could destroy, because it was built from tears, sincerity, and trust that couldn't be bought. Taehyung didn't wait for a calling to shine. He shone because his heart was honest. And in a world increasingly harsh and full of falsehood, honesty is the rarest light. That's what makes him more than just an idol. He's a mirror for many. For those who have ever felt small, for those who feel inadequate, for anyone who has ever been betrayed by the system but still chooses to persevere, Taehyung is proof that gentleness never means weakness. He is a sign that someone can fall many times without losing their soft side. He was hurt, but he never let those wounds turn him bitter. He continued to create, continuing to believe that goodness will always find its way. And he was right. The world is now standing by his side. Taehyung never forces anyone to support him. But the truth always finds a way, and the public now sees with clearer eyes who loves from the heart and who only loves when the cameras are rolling. He may never have received justice from the system, but he gained something far more valuable, the recognition of millions of hearts who understand the meaning of pain and choose to heal it together. In a world that often silences, Taehyung continues to sing. In a world that easily erases, he continues to guard. And because of that, his name will live long beyond the contracts he once signed. Now, he is not just the pride of one group, but a global inspiration. Because his story is no longer just about fame, but about courage to fight injustice with kindness. He is a long breath that reminds the world to pause and feel. And anyone who knows him knows, loving Taehyung is never wrong. Because that love is not built on hype, but on truth. HYBE can continue to chase strategies and markets, but they have lost something they can never buy back: trust. And when the world votes, they don't vote for numbers, they vote for who makes them feel alive. And that choice fell on Taehyung. However, Taehyung's journey didn't end there. After overcoming testing times, he began to create something greater than just songs. He created a safe space for his fans. A space where no one was judged for their weaknesses, where everyone could feel understood just by hearing his voice. To some, he may be just a singer. But to those who truly follow his journey, Taehyung is a friend who is always there, even when thousands of miles separate them. His lyrics aren't just a series of words, but a hidden message that only a heart that has been hurt can understand. At every concert, he doesn't just perform to please the audience. He observes the faces before him, trying to memorize the energy they carry. He realizes that those standing before him aren't just fans, but people who have entrusted the most vulnerable parts of themselves to him. Those moments are what make him even more certain that what he does isn't just a job, but a calling. No sales figures, awards, or records can compare to the feeling of seeing someone smile again because of a song he sang. Behind all these achievements, Taehyung remains humble. He never lets his popularity erase his gratitude. He remains the one who greets his staff sincerely, who comforts his bandmates when they look tired, and who chooses to remain silent when silence is a form of protection. Now, his name isn't just known on billboards or award shows. His name is in the hearts of those who feel saved by his presence. And that's a form of success that can never be quantified. Taehyung has proven that in a harsh and sometimes unfair industry, there is still room for sincerity. That even amidst cold grand strategies, there is always a place for someone who chooses to persevere with a soft heart. And this story isn't over yet, because every step he takes will always be part of a journey that inspires millions around the world.